You are now in the presence of a...
Good morning, tribe. It's about 2:15 a.m. here in California. I'm about 1 hour and 15 minutes away from being up for 24 hours. But I got the editing done to episode 2. I'm getting ready to upload it now. You'll be seeing it here in a few seconds. But I wanted to give you a heads up about 2 things. About 10 minutes into the video, the microphones died. So the audio will change and there'll be a slight glitch that you'll notice. But everything else is fine and you'll still be able to hear it. It'll just sound a little different. Number 2, this was actually my very first interview, period. This is me with a guest, my first time in a studio. So I was very nervous. It does kind of come across a bit. But overall, I believe the message was there. So I hope you enjoy it. I look forward to your feedback. And you all take care. I love you. And we'll be discussing these topics soon. Take care. Peace. My main thing that I really wanted to do with this episode is I want to make people feel more comfortable with not just giving credit to a bonus parent, but I want to really dig into like some of the thoughts, some of the feelings of what it takes to be a bonus parent, because there's a lot of things that go into it. So one of the main things is what would you say is the most complicated part of it? And then what is the most gratifying part of being a bonus parent?
Oh, wow. So many things, but I think the most complicated part was probably helping raise a little girl. For obviously those that know me, I'm surrounded by boys. I have 2 sons and I have 6 grandsons now, but at the time it was just my 2 boys and my 1 grandson. So it was actually I can put that in too. It was, that was complicated, but it was also very, very gratifying. I saw Brookie as the daughter that I never had. Mm-hmm. And I think that, made, that connection and that experience so much better, and the newness of it all, and like the experimenting, and not with her, but just different things, and knowing how to raise a boy, but a little more tender, a little more thoughtful, a little more thoughtful of her needs and her sensitivity. So that was like definitely an adjustment for me, but also gratifying. Like I felt like she was my own. Mm-hmm. She was my own, and she took to me so quickly and so well. It was so organic. There was never anything I felt that was I was trying to do too much to try to get her to like me, or she was, it kind of worked when we were, when we were ready. Everything kind of just happened a little by little, and we had this great bond. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if that answers your questions. But...
Yeah. Did you feel any pressure? Like, was there any pressure going into it though?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, again, like not knowing how to raise a girl. So yes, there was some pressure there, and wanting to do everything very methodical, very carefully, very timely, all of those things. So yeah.
Yeah. So in like, picking a partner, for me, having my first kid, that was also kind of effortless in that sense. Like I feel like I got blessed that way because I didn't have to go through like a dating pool or anything. So I got really lucky when you and I met, and then I felt like the conversation we had over those hours at that Denny's really kind of
all those cappuccinos.
Yeah, exactly. That's when they were unlimited. So the bigger part of that was I don't think one time I thought about my daughter, like, okay, how does she fit? The conversation that we had let me know that you were the person for that fit. You were that piece. And I didn't, and even though, the timeline is what it is, as far as like, what you and I know as a timeline,
Yeah.
but still that conversation let me know, we were talking about your sons and you're talking about your mom, but it wasn't just that, it was the action behind what you were telling me that let me know that what you were saying was consistent. Like it wasn't anything I had to be concerned with.
That's something that I wondered, like um what prompted you to like, okay, like this woman, like she seems, like, I mean, having your kid around anyone, is big, and
Hmm.
the right person for sure. So I know that there's a lot of like, you pull back a little bit, like, on certain
Hmm.
things. So that was something I wondered, like, what made you think or realize, or once we were into, like, okay, I made the right choice.
Yeah, this was the steps. It was more than one step, but that for the beginning of it was, is what I described, like, how you and I interacted and what I saw. But I think the biggest thing that made me know it was the right fit was how you never overstepped unforeseen boundaries. Like there was never, I don't think I had any boundaries at the time, but you never triggered anything for me to say, yo, I need you to do this or stay away from that or whatever. You navigated around me and you allowed me to be a dad 1st. So you allowed me to do this. And then if you saw something, you'd be like, yo, do you want me to do this?
Yeah.
Or yo, I can help here if you want me to. It was never a time that I felt like you were just forcing yourself in anything. So, and I didn't even realize that until really later, when I was like, damn, there was never a time that you just did something just to do it. You were always very mindful of, kind of like my space, my progression, my growth. And then so like I if I dressed her a certain way and you like, yo, she's way too pretty for that. And then you're like, okay, let me do this. And then it's like, you go to your little spots and you'll get the little cute socks or the little cute skirt. And then it was like, so that the importance of you going forward for me, even after we broke up, was I left with that. Anything that I learned in that process of having a little girl, I took with me. So then it was like when I was shopped, it was like, oh no, that's. Or if I got something that was kind of plain, I knew how to like jazz it up with an accessory or something.
That's something I have to say. I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
Very proud of you, because I remember early on. I mean, there was a lot of factors. I mean, not having the resources, to get her like a new wardrobe, or just knowing what to put together or not. And again, like I didn't have that experience, but I have friends that have daughters, and plus that's my thing. I love that, hair and dressing her and all those little details. So yeah, I'm glad you left with that, because otherwise we'd be having. I mean, she's old enough to make her own decisions now, but we would have her looking crazy.
Yeah, if it wasn't for that, because and it wasn't even just that. It was like just sometimes, how to, because even though I'm a gentle giant, sometimes I still don't know or understand a certain approach. So even if you made a suggestion, it didn't mean that I had to take it.
Correct.
But it gave me some perspective, like, okay, got it. I could come off a little like this. I'm a big dude and I'm towering over this little girl with this voice, and then anything sounds intimidating.
Right.
So I learned to really be far more gentle than I already was, and in dealing with her, but then learning to be firm in other areas.
Yeah, you're right, because sometimes I realized it was needed. And so I learned a lot too. It's like, okay, we can't always, you can't be too sensitive or too. I mean, in the end, like our your whole goal is to raise this amazing human being, like a good person. So yeah, we can't have a spoiled little brat, having
Yeah.
thinking she can do whatever she wants to do. So I knew there was a balance.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what was the most challenging? And then also, like, how did you, well, first of all, how did you know I or her and I were a good fit for you in your situation, more
Ooh,
importantly?
that's a tough one because if you remember when we first met, it's nothing that I want. I didn't want to date anyone with children. I'd been
Hmm.
down that road, and it's not something that I was looking for. So as far as like being a fit, you weren't.
Yeah. I
You
remember
weren't
that.
a fit.
Yeah.
In fact, we kind of, if you recall, we kind of parted ways, and then
Yeah.
you reached out after. So
Hmm.
this was I don't know, like months after.
Oh yeah, yeah. It was months.
So yeah, I mean, I think part of me always knew that that's the route that I wanted to go, but to meet you and then to meet you with bonus mamas,
Yeah. Yeah.
it was honestly like it was so great. Like I didn't know what would happen, but it just felt good.
Yeah.
And and I think the hardest part was trying to find that balance as a couple.
Hmm.
And me trying to understand this is all new to you. You're trying to be a dad, and it seems like I think that's what the toughest part was. The All the time and effort was not all, but most of it was trying to figure things out and trying to do this and trying to just roll with all these curveballs,
Yeah.
and so that was tough. So I think finding that medium as a couple. I think that you poured all your marbles or all your cards in one pile mostly.
Hmm.
So I think that was the toughest. I felt a little not left out, but I feel like there was not a lot left for me in the end.
Hmm.
At the end of it, and I think more than anything, there's several reasons, but I think that's probably like the reason we're not together. Is
Right.
because
Yeah.
like there was that lack of balance and finding that time for us. And
Hmm.
when there was that time for us, you being present, not having to
Hmm.
worry. Like it seems like it was always, the worrisome, like having a child,
Yeah.
making sure that they're okay, regardless of if they're with you or not. So yeah, I think that was like the toughest part for me.
Yeah. So even like going into the difficulties of it, like the split, because as a bonus parent, sometimes it's difficult, and most times it's difficult when there's a split,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's like, damn, where at what point do I really let go after years of emotional investment?
Right.
So now you're really not obligated,
Right.
but because we split on good terms,
Mm-hmm.
we were still able to maintain a friendship and an understanding. And even though you weren't seeing Brooke as often, there were moments that you shared with her here and there that still meant a lot,
Mm-hmm.
because you were stability in the household.
Right.
You know, I have to say I've seen a lot of relationships like with stepmoms and
Mm-hmm.
stepdads on different levels, or just people who are dating and like we did, and we're in the space of sharing the collective, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it really, I can say that the balance and the maturity in the relationship during and after really carried that on over, because there's still a lot of values uh, that you instilled in her as a woman
Mm-hmm.
that she still carries to this very day.
Yeah.
And it really complemented the way that I parented and the way that I taught her.
Right.
So she saw consistency in the household. We were both like kind of like chill, but we also danced all the time in the kitchen. We always cooked together. So she really saw that, and it wasn't a show. It was like who we really were, you know. So those are the things that I look back and I really appreciate. I appreciate you for. because it was real, and the relationship that you had then and have now, even though you don't see her as often, it's it's like planting a garden and growing everything
Oh, for
organically.
sure. I agree.
No pesticides, no, like, you're eating off the land, and that's a great foundation for her as a little girl turning into a young lady,
I
and then
know.
on up.
Yeah, I just, seeing pictures of her, um, at first day of school, and
Yeah.
as things come up on your phone, when she was a baby, and
Hmm.
it's so it's happening. She's turning into a little lady,
Yeah.
but that makes me feel really good. It makes me feel really, I think
Yeah.
you're right. Like I don't see her as often, but when I do see her, there's those little bits of me that I still
Yeah.
see. Yeah.
Yep.
So it makes me very proud and very, like I feel like what I set out to do, like I accomplished.
Yep.
So,
That the importance of that is understated. A lot of people, I wanted to do this with you because there are I think there are probably more situations like this than there are marriages, and like, or even like, um, marriages that are, where there's blended families.
yes.
So, like, the importance of it is like, not, don't feel like you necessarily have to let go. I understand the complication of like being in a relationship and then breaking up with me, for instance,
Yeah.
and then it's like we still have feelings here and there and like all this stuff, especially early on, and it's like, how do you get around that? But you really have to just prioritize what's important. So for me, if you would have said, you know what, I don't have anything to do with this, good luck, then that's where I would have been. But the fact that when Brooke and I moved out, you were there helping me move stuff out the U-Haul truck. You, my dad, my sister, my best friend B, y'all was all there helping me take everything out the U-Haul truck up into my new place and setting it all up and make sure that like her space was still good and like, still girly and all the stuff that we had at the house. So it's those moments that I feel like people should understand. You can accomplish that if you're just pure in your intentions. It doesn't have to be ugly. It doesn't have to be this, because what we can't allow is those moments to leave those toxic remnants behind. And then it's like she'll see that, hey, you know what? Just because me and this person disagrees, it doesn't have to be ugly.
Right.
There can still be support as much as one can handle.
Exactly.
And I don't have to make a scene and make it ugly so that it's easy for me to leave. And that was, like, to me, in my opinion, one of the most important moments of our breakup, was showing her that it could be done this way. And you don't have to be about the drama. You don't have to be about all of these different
Well, see,
things.
it was never that. I mean, it was never, like, oh, the drama of, like, I don't know, like, let's say you cheated, or, you beat me, you were a drug addict.
Yeah.
None of that. I mean, it just, we were in different places in life, and
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm a big believer that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes we're in people's lives for a moment, a period in time,
Hmm.
that can be short, long,
Yep.
and then that time expires. The time expires. So I think that because of me in my position, having children at such a young age, and then being grown, and wanting other things in life,
Hmm.
that I think that's it kind of hit again. Even though that's where we started,
Yeah.
it kind of like, yeah, girl, this is what you really wanted in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it was a journey, and I loved every moment of it.
Hmm.
Being her bonus mom, and like you said, I mean, it doesn't have to be a bad. I mean, I was, again, like, I believe we're two good people.
Yep.
So it's hard to be a certain way when someone's done you no harm, per se,
Hmm.
wanting to,
Right.
you didn't mean to, sometimes hurt, but it just, it's hard to be mean or be a certain way to
Yeah.
someone who's never been that to you.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
So yeah, so I mean, like it was, I wanted you, there was still love there, so I wanted to make sure that, you had everything you needed, and it looked
Mhm.
like a home. This is what she was used to with us.
Yeah.
So like now we're transitioning to just, you and her in a space. So let's make sure that she doesn't feel that as abruptly.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Decorating any place, that's my thing. So
Yeah.
it was effortless. I did it with my heart. So
Hmm. So what would you say was like one of the highlights as a bonus mom? So like if there was a moment, like if she did something or said something that was like uh that let you know that you were doing the right thing, that you were in the right place, um, in her life specifically.
gosh, there were so many. It just made me feel so good, and like I kind of like secretly like like I didn't want her to
Hmm.
to see the shock, but I think just her heart. I wear my heart on my sleeves, and I feel that she's such a caring, such a beautiful little soul. Like I feel that when I saw her in her, like, I don't know, like this is kind of an example, but just how generous and how thoughtful she is with
Hmm.
her friends or her peers or even adults.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, we're doing a good job. She's respectful of others. She's thoughtful of others.
Yeah.
She shares. Never had any issues, and just yeah, that kind human being. So
Yeah.
that's when I felt like she's a little extension of me. That's I feel like that's how I am, and so that made me feel really really good. And to this day, I see
Hmm.
that in her.
The cool thing was I felt like because I'm artsy, um, painting, poetry, all that stuff. I always wanted, I like that. One of my intentions were making sure that I gave her some of that. I poured some
Mm-hmm.
of that into her.
For sure.
But then it was cool because you also have an art side, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like it's like decor, it's
Mm-hmm.
sewing,
Resourceful.
yeah, being a super resourceful,
Yeah.
turning something into nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So like
Turning nothing into something.
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew what you
yeah.
meant.
So like those things, I love seeing that in her. Like even now, it's like I love the fact that um, her mom's boyfriend. I love the fact that he cooks because I cook. So like he's pouring into her too. He's like, she's my sous chef. I love that.
Yeah, they're little sponges. Like
Yeah. So just anything that's healthy, I love and I appreciate, And so that for me is what I want people to realize is that the importance of a bonus parent. So even if you're on the other side of it, that's why I support my daughter's, excuse me, her mom's boyfriend,
Mhm.
because I want her to see this is possible,
Oh, of course.
and I want her to see that that is also healthy,
Yeah.
and that you don't have to worry about me and my feelings about him and his presence
Right.
and um, his impact.
Mhm.
And as dads or a mom, as long as that other person is healthy or
Mhm.
pouring healthy healthy foods,
Mhm.
you know,
I mean, I
uh,
think I think you nipped it in the bud right there. Like as parents, um, gosh, like parenting is so hard. As we know, like there's no manual to
yeah,
it. So I think like when they say it takes a village, it truly takes a village.
yeah,
So if there's like another person that loves your little person just as much as you
yeah,
do, gosh, like that's definitely a bonus. And being a father, I don't know how that feels, but you do great as a father. So I don't feel like there's any okay, like I'm a little jealous that this is
yeah,
she has this bond with him cooking, but like that's like she's learning things that she cooks with you, so she
mm-hmm,
might be learning certain things from her mom's boyfriend
yeah, yeah,
that that he does different, or that a dish she might like and she might carry on to adulthood,
yes,
things like
yeah,
that. So I think that's great.
yeah. That all of that is, you have to be secure in yourself as a parent.
Absolutely.
So you can't feel threatened by someone else's presence without getting to know the person.
Correct.
So I knew that when I met him, I'm like, let me get to know him first, you know?
From what I know, judge of character is pretty good. So.
Yeah, but I didn't want insecurity to cloud, you know, that judgment.
Right.
You know, so it was like, let me just meet him. You know, we met and we you know, we ate, all of us together, you know, her mom, and him. And I got a good feel for him, but I still wasn't sure, obviously.
Right.
And then I just say, hey, how do you feel about? And she's like, I like him.
Okay.
Good.
That says mountain. Like that's
Exactly.
if a kid, like, you know,
Yeah.
kids are very intuitive. So if they don't like someone, there's something behind that.
Yeah.
Or if they like someone, like, hey, that's probably a good person.
Yeah, exactly. So I love that. And then it was like, okay. So at that point, it was like, let me go ahead and just get to know him organically.
Correct.
I don't have to say, hey, let's meet again, let's do this, that, the other. Now we'll meet for a beer or something like that because we're like super cool.
Awesome.
Her mom always said we have a bromance or whatever. But we do, you know. But you know, he's a great guy, he's a great person. So, and then as long as he provides that stability over there in that household, I'm super solid. You know, I don't feel a reason, and it feels good too because. For me, it's like when they go on trips and stuff, I don't feel like, damn, I'm her protector. So the first thing I'm like, she's going out of the country or she's going out of state and I'm not there, but I trust him to take on that role. So now when she's gone, I'm like, I can actually enjoy the house. I'm like naked on the couch with a sandwich, you know, watching something, you know what I'm saying? Like I now have freedom.
Yeah.
And so, and with no worry.
Yes.
I love that.
I'm sure it feels good.
Yeah, so like I just wanted people to know the importance of having a bonus parent and like use it.
Yeah, embrace it.
Embrace it. Now I use it, I'm like, dang, now I actually get a moment to sit back and relax. You know, like this week, it was like, you know, they were, her mom and her boyfriend were out of town for 8 days and she came back and was like, yo, if you want, I'll keep her on your days this week as well, so you can just get an extra break.
Nice.
And I was like, thank you.
I'll take it.
I'll take it. You know, and so, you know, it could be beautiful, but it's only what you make it.
Right.
You know, and you know, and I got a lot of good stuff out of this too because I'm a bonus granddad to your grandkids. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and your sons and like, you know, extended family. Like, it's a whole thing.
Big D.
Yeah. I'm Big D. Got little D. So it can be a beautiful journey. I think the journey is what you make it. You know, and if you what I love is that we both have peace in our own individual homes.
Absolutely.
So, and we know and respect not to disrupt that.
Absolutely.
You know, and her mom they have their whatever their peace looks like, and I don't disrupt that. Her mom doesn't disrupt mine. It's like, hey,
it's important.
Yeah, it's all so it all goes together. Okay, so now this part of it, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to ask me some questions. Anything that you're curious about, or that you just kind of want to kind of shed some light on, anything.
Well, talking about like the present, so what do you feel right now, or when you talk about strengths and everything, do you feel like, you know, you're well-rounded as a dad, or do you feel like there's a weakness that you need to work on, or how do you feel overall? Especially like this point in her life where she's, you know, I think this is her last year in elementary, right?
Yeah.
She's going into junior high next year.
Yeah.
So how is that feeling for you?
Well, that's a tough one. I don't ever feel like I'm complete as a parent, as a dad. I don't ever feel like that. I'm very hard on myself to be consistent, to be just to continue to pour into her. One thing that I did realize recently, it was a few weeks back, or whatever. So I was dealing with a bout of depression. My depression is very different. It's a couch and ice cream and junk food thing, it's dragging around, it's us a lot, it's a lot of that.
Sorry.
Okay, and it only stays, it doesn't, you know, I've been, even in my worst, it doesn't go to anything extreme, but it does set me back though. And I remember like the house was just getting terrible. Like I'll make sure the kitchen was cool, dishes washed, stuff like that. But then it was like the laundry was piling up. You know, I would always take the trash out. So it was mostly the laundry really, but then my room got out of control. It was like clothes everywhere. It was never trash, just clothes. I wasn't making my bed, but her room was worse. And I was like, yo, would you clean the room up? For like weeks, I'm asking her to do something I wasn't doing, right? And I kind of realized that, but then I was like, I'm the parent. Like, you know, do what I say, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, we always like, growing up, like, do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly, and that's what I was doing.
And we never questioned it. It's like, okay, mom and dad said it.
Yeah, so then one day I had a realization. I was like, so what I realized in that moment was, how is she supposed to respect me if she's looking at the laundry, if she's looking at my room specifically, and she's like, why are you asking me to do this? And I come back from the weekend with my mom, and the house is still looking the same way it did when I left. Straight up hypocrite. And I was like, man, so I spent 26 straight hours cleaning up the house. So I went deeper because it was like, it wasn't just the laundry, cleaning my room, it was like organizing things that had always been bugging me. It was taking stuff to Goodwill that I knew needed to go a couple years ago or whatever. Like anything that I procrastinated with, I took care of it. She came home and it was like, yo, she was looking around like, this is, and I was like, yo, and I sat her down and I apologized to her. I was like, yo, please accept my apology because I wasn't living up to what I was asking you to do. And I was like, no one should ever do that to you. And I was like, and especially me, and I did that. And like, I'm sorry I was pressuring you to clean up your room, and I wasn't doing the same thing. A week later, no, sorry, yeah, it was a week later, because I didn't really pressure her to clean up her room even then. She comes back, and she's like, hey, Papa, before we got home, I picked her up from school, she's like, I don't have homework, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna clean my room up. And she was up there for, oh, forgive me, it was a Friday when I picked her up from school, but she took kind of like a day and a half, I'm sorry. She did like a full day, really, because it was like she's taking breaks. She had like bags of trash and like stuff that she didn't want anymore. Stuff at the Goodwill. She had, she cleaned her bathroom, scrubbed her shower and everything. And even now, her room still looks good. So we're like probably a month removed from that situation, and her room still is presentable. Like you walk in there, and I can't really say, point at something really. I'm like, yo, this is so. And she's been keeping it up because I, since that time, have kept the house up. So there's always room for growth, and I'm never like satisfied with, okay, I did this, and like now I'm winning. It's a constant marathon for me. It's a slow-paced situation.
It's important because like we're our biggest critics, right? Our biggest.
Yes.
So if you don't mind me asking, like, you know, you talk about depression, and it's pretty big right now. You know, so many of us. But what brought you into that? You know, depression, and what brought you out?
Really, a lot of it was putting too much pressure on myself as a parent. You know, it's like I want to do this, I want to provide that. So, you know, full transparency. You know, when you have a two-parent household, so that's what I'm gonna call her mom's situation. Two-parent household, two incomes. You know, and then with me, it's like it's just me. You know, working, you know, a full-time job at a time, part-time job as well. But it's still in California. It's not enough. It's not enough. And I'm trying to keep up with all these, you know, soccer fees. I'm trying to keep up with clothes, shoes, like, and just the things that are a necessity. So I don't just buy stuff just to buy it for her. But she's like, yo, Papa, I need more. I need new underwear. I need new this, because these are old or they don't fit. And it was hard to keep up. So I began to feel that pressure from that part of it, but also like my job was extremely demanding. and I started to feel an extreme weight over time. And because it didn't hit me all at once, I didn't realize it was happening at a slow pace. And then I started to notice that on the weekends that she wasn't home, I would find myself on the couch. It was like, and I started making excuses like, yeah, you know, I worked hard this week, I'm just gonna chill this weekend. And now I'm just like, I'm sitting there in the same underclothes that I had on Friday all the way till Sunday. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I wasn't really, it was a thing. But I was able to put myself out of it, you know, just talking to the right people and really just getting honest, at the end of the day, getting honest with myself. Saying, you know what, bro, you know you're depressed.
You're not being so hard on yourself either.
Exactly. So now it's like even now, I still haven't shopped for her school. She's been in school now she just finished her second week. And I still haven't shopped for her for school. I went to look at that one place, and I was looking for like little cute pieces, but they didn't have anything, but still, I still haven't shopped for her for school. But I was like, yo, I'm not working right now, you know, with the exception of my part-time job, but that's really kind of covering some of the little bills, you know, so I can't use that money. But I was like, you know what, let me show myself some grace here.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah, but it circles around to this. If it weren't for the collective in raising her early, instilling certain things in her, me not shopping with her would be a big deal. Because we never spoiled her.
Oh, you mean?
Yeah, like it goes back. Yeah, it goes back to.
Oh yeah.
It goes back to having a bonus mom, creating that environment, and she's humble, and she's like, okay, I already have shoes. I'll wear the shoes that I wore at the end of last year. They still look good. You know, I still wear the same jeans. They fit. I wear it, and that's what she's been doing at the house. I'm like, Mom, you know, does that fit? Or she'll put something on like, is that comfortable? And she's like, yeah, it's good. Okay, cool.
I love that about her.
Yeah. So like but it's that, see, and that's the main thing. It's like when you are a bonus parent and you're helping an individual raise their child or kids, pouring only the good things into them results in situations like this where I'm trying to show myself some grace, and she's showing me that grace.
Yeah, she's so in tune to you too.
Yeah. So that's the beautiful thing about it. And that's really what I wanted to, convey to my viewers is it can be done.
And I love that about her. Like what you just mentioned, she's again, we talk about being resourceful and being humble and being all these things. Like I love that she's not. She's like, okay, like we might want one or two outfits for when the week starts.
Yeah.
We all wanted that as kids, but just to know, like, hey, I can still wear these shoes, clean them up a little bit, this shirt, whatever, they're cute.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah.
And then there'll be great reward because, as things start to, continue to evolve, myself, I'm going to make sure that she's rewarded for her grace and patience. Yeah, so it's really cool, man. I feel extremely blessed and grateful that in a time and transition in my life that you were the bonus mom. I couldn't see it any other way, honestly. So I'm just really glad. I feel just overwhelmingly blessed. Like this could have been any sort of way.
Okay, now going back to let's flip the question. So, I know you asked me that question. What did I take from being that bonus parent? What were the highlights, the hard parts? What do you think now? How do you feel about you talk about constant growth. What can you grow in, or where do you see yourself? Getting better or getting.
Where can I improve?
Yeah.
For me, it's leading her in the positive affirmation world. Even in times of adversity, So something I did the other day for the first time. I had never done this, you know, and I know people do this. I had never done it. I looked myself in the mirror for the very first time, and it was really random. I was cleaning up, and I was walking out of the bathroom, out of my bathroom, and as I'm turning that corner, I kind of catch my reflection, and I stop, and I turn, and I regroup into the center of the doorway, and I look at the mirror. I take one step back into the bathroom, and I said, "Man, you're awesome." I said, "You got this. You're doing it." I said, "You're intelligent. You're a survivor." And I had never spoken positively to myself ever.
It's funny that you say that because we're so hard on ourselves and we get so involved and immersed in whatever it is that we're doing that we forget about ourselves.
Yeah.
So I think that's important too, and I think for me, like that's something I've been working on for the last couple of years. And
Yeah.
I feel good about me,
Yeah.
like the person I'm involved. And like you said, it's constant growth. We're never done growing. I mean, if you did, like, what a shame, right? We continue to grow and get better with time. But I'm finally at a space where I'm happy. Like we're so critical about our weight, how we look, how we do this. Example, like, my hair just kind of let it go and grow out. It was super long, and I wear it in a bun or in a ponytail most times. And I was like, it doesn't fit me anymore. It doesn't suit who I feel now. So I'm just gonna chop it all off. I'm gonna stop tying my hair. I'm gonna rock my braids, and I like it. I feel really good about my body shape. We can all afford to lose a few pounds, but it's okay.
Yeah, we're healthy.
Yeah, as long as we're healthy, absolutely. Because I had that scare earlier this year with the big cancer word. But to know that you beat that and that you're just such a better person up here and here, because of that. So I'm just grateful to be here.
Yeah.
I have to stop being so hard on myself, and I'm finally there.
Yeah.
Every day, is a gift.
Yeah, it is. And that's how this, when I was coming up with the name of the podcast, it was like I wanted something that was going to have some true meaning. So, like the DNA part of it is, what we pour into our kids, grandkids, and really people around us. And that for me was, it was very telling of the journey, of my journey. It's like, you just try to do the best, like to what you were saying, just like that. It's like, when we say the positive affirmation, with you saying being easy of yourself, it allows how we are, we're a model to them. We're the show floor for them.
Imagine if you're right, absolutely right. If you're a person that's not happy with yourself, it's constantly critical, it's constantly, I heard this recently, but I've heard it before. But when you say, "Oh, I'm so stupid. I'm so this. I can't." Hey, be careful how you talk to my best friend. Don't talk to him like that, or don't talk to her like that.
Yeah.
Would you talk to your best friend like that? Probably not.
Right.
So we have to see ourselves in that light as your best friend, and how would you treat that best friend, and be more conscious of that, and give yourself some grace.
Yeah.
Give yourself some grace. And I think with my kids, and hopefully grandchildren too, I don't know, I feel we had it tough. So I think it was important, for me to instill certain things, to be strong, and I was a single mom raising boys, so try to do my best. But I'm so grateful. I think to this day, my boys, they're very confident, very smart gentlemen, very giving, very loving. So I think I'm like, okay.
Yeah, but see that is what you poured into them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then also even though they're older, I've had the opportunity to kind of pour into them as well,
Correct.
a certain way, you know, and so.
Yeah, because I don't, like, you know, you're a man, and like, unfortunately, like, you know, they haven't had that consistently in their life. So, you know, that, you know, bonus.
Yeah, exactly.
Bonus D.
Yeah, but they're both, like, you know.
And to see them now, right? To see them as not only like adult men, but, you know,
Parents. Yeah.
and spouses.
Yeah, exactly. So that, it kind of all like, it works itself into, you know, into different areas. Cause like them being there to see me raise Brooke, you know, and then like even having conversations like, well, you know, with Alex, like things like that. It's like, it just all kind of ties in. And then whatever version of themselves is created from that, cool. As long as it's good, it's positive, you know, like it's solid. So you have two great boys, you have, you know, how many grandkids? 6 wonderful grandkids.
Oh my gosh, babies. Not
so,
a girl yet. I do
have.
have, I'm sorry, like I take that back. I do have a bonus granddaughter.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
And 2 bonus daughters. You know.
That's true, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, two wonderful people. Absolutely. So yeah, but if you have no further questions, I think I made my point about, you know, the importance of.
I don't even know like what our message was or what our title was to this.
It was the bonus parent.
Oh, sorry. Yes, it was. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Like, yo, I'm
Sorry.
like, tequila got to you? Did you finish your
No, I knew it, but it slipped. Okay, so cheers to that.
Yeah, cheers to the last shot.
Yes, bonus parents.
Yeah, thank you again for doing this with me. This is probably, I felt this was the most important episode.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
My pleasure. I'm usually like a little like, oh, you know,
I know. Yeah,
camera
so
shy, but
yeah.
I think your message, you know, what you decided to do with this is very important. I think that there's some of us that, you know, are just like I was in the beginning, like a little like leery of certain things, and this might help.
Yeah.
Or discourage some people, which depending on which way it goes. Right?
Yeah, depending on how they take it.
I mean, don't get me wrong, it was hard, but like I wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
I feel like that it's just created a space, you know, of where we are in life right now, and it's a good place.
Yeah, and you know what, if some people don't, as long as this is thought-provoking, that's all I care about. I just want people to think about it.
Yeah, because you have a little bit of everything, as we know, on social media. People that it might connect, it might not. You might have something good to say, you might have something negative to say. So for those who it blesses or it enlightens, like great, you know, take it for what it is.
Yeah, but thank you again. I'm hungry.
Me too.
Yeah. All right, y'all, man. Thank y'all for joining us. We'll wrap this baby up, and I'll have an outro for y'all here shortly. Peace. Love y'all. That's all I got.